It's Wednesday, January 28th, 2026, and the signal is growing for a major East Coast storm. Are you guys ready? Let's get right into talking about it. Here we go. Here's that big day 4 winter storms outlook, which covers an area from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, up to Charlotte, up to Beckley, West Virginia, all the way through the I-95 corridor between Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, up to Providence. Boston, you're not covered here, but you'll be in the Day 5 outlook. This is also covering an area from Raleigh to Virginia Beach to Richmond, which is actually the highest confidence area right now. I would actually maybe upgrade this spot to a 30% in the next outlook. Yeah, we've got a potentially pretty big snowmaker on the way. Here's what we're looking at for Sunday into Monday on the Day 5 outlook. We're still highlighting an area along the coast, but this time we're including Boston, most of the state of New Hampshire, and all of Maine. And then you can see that there is a 30% area hiding out here in Nova Scotia that might expand down to the west as we go forward. All right, let's talk about this setup. First of all, we are going to continue to have cold air locked in place here from the northern plains down into the Ohio Valley through the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. This is why the storm is going to be able to exist. We have a lot of cold air in place. Additionally, over the next few days, we're going to have somewhat of an atmospheric river up here in the Pacific Northwest. So, it's not just the East Coast where we have weather happening in Washington and Oregon. We're going to have a moderate atmospheric river situation taking place up there, but let me scroll back and show you the two pieces of energy that are linking together. You can see this clipper here very faintly coming across the Great Lakes down into St. Louis on Friday around 4 a.m. We might have some flurries in St. Louis down to Jonesboro, Arkansas, and we might have some thunderstorms out here over the Gulf. And then all that energy is going to link together. It's going to start bringing the cold air very far south. That 540 line goes past New Orleans on Saturday at 7 a.m. We could have snow breaking out all the way back beyond Nashville over here to the Mississippi River. Again, it'll be light snow, and the heavy snow is going to start breaking out over here in the North Carolina area, potentially around 7 a.m. on Saturday. And notice how everything just kind of blows up as our low-pressure center here could potentially drop 24 millibars in 24 hours, making it a bomb cyclone. A lot of people are saying that that's a hype phrase, and it kind of is, but it's real. Like, it's an actual scientific term. Like, a cyclone that undergoes bombogenesis is a bomb cyclone. I mean, I'm sorry. It's what it is. I don't make the words here, everyone. And then, as you can see here, we could potentially have a 978 millibar low pressure center on February 1st around 7 a.m. And the lower that pressure gets, the more intense the snow is going to be on the backside, and the stronger the winds are. I mean, we're going to be talking about an actual blizzard for whoever gets right next to that low pressure center. And if this ends up hugging the coast any closer, we could be talking about a real coastal blizzard here. But notice how on the latest GFS, the low actually doesn't hug the coast that much. It dumps a ton of snow in North Carolina and Virginia and southern portions of Maryland and Delaware, and then it just kind of does a glancing blow thing to the rest of the Northeast. Maybe there's some significant snow in Cape Cod and, of course, up there towards Nova Scotia, but for the most part, this is a glancing blow. Now, let's take a look at the European model, which is my favorite model for winter storms during this time range. And you can see that the piece of energy coming from the north on the Euro is less amplified. I guess you could say we don't have precipitation making it as far back. It doesn't start off as heavily in North Carolina, but the storm pretty much does the same thing in the same area. We are seeing a potential bomb cyclone dumping a ton of snow on North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia as we go from Saturday into Sunday. But that precipitation shield gets really big as we go into Sunday because this is showing more of that southern energy getting involved, more moisture getting involved. And this would actually, even though the low pressure center is still way off of the coast, this would actually still bury a lot of the Northeast in a ton of snow, according to the latest European model. So the track is becoming a little bit more consistent. It does look like that low pressure center is going to be a little bit offshore, but now it's like, okay, how big is the precipitation shield? How big is the wind field? Those are going to be the big questions as we go forward. Another big question is how much snow are we going to get? And that one is still unknown, but we do have the NBM. So let's look at it. This is a national blend of models. This is an average of what all the models are showing. I would be cautious about getting too excited here if you want snow. I would definitely look at this as the high end of what you could potentially expect. But man, this is showing potentially 4 inches of snow in Myrtle Beach, 4 inches in Columbia. This is showing 6 inches in Charlotte, maybe 8 inches in Greensboro to Greenville. Raleigh's getting 8 inches. We're getting buried over here in Kill Devil Hills with 10 inches of snow according to this, 9 inches in Virginia Beach. Even back here in my neck of the woods, on the northwestern side of the Appalachian Mountains, we could be talking about 3 or 4 inches in Charleston up to Elkins. How about you in Richmond with 10 inches of snow, Salisbury 10 inches, Washington, D.C. 7.4 inches, Baltimore 5.4 inches. And then you can see that the NBM does show a lot of that snow mostly falling over the ocean to the south and east of New Jersey and New York City and places like that. But it is showing potentially 6 inches in Philadelphia, 4 or 5 in New York, and then maybe 10 inches in Boston. Well, how much would we have on the ground in Boston if we got another 10? There's a couple areas out here that get more than a foot of snow on the NBM. So this will be interesting to see. I'm more confident in this than I am this. So I think this is realistic. I think that we could see a widespread 6 to 10 inches of snow across North Carolina and Virginia. But as we start talking about the more coastal areas, that's where I think it could go either way. And we'll have to look at the models tomorrow to get more confidence. And one thing that I'm very confident about is how cold it's going to get. If you think it's cold right now, I told you yesterday. Well, I do have bad news. A second reinforcing shot of cold air is loading up and it's going to drop the hammer this weekend. Okay, another one of those big, anomalously high pressure systems is going to dig down from Canada and it's going to push the freezing line all the way deep into Florida. We talked about Miami maybe getting near freezing at some point. Now, there's going to be a lot of winds with this as well. So, it's very possible that a lot of Florida experiences wind chills below freezing, maybe even in the single digits. Up in northern Florida, there's a couple places that might have a wind chill of 8 or 9 degrees. Miami might experience a wind chill of 32 degrees, which is absolutely wild. We're going to have hard freeze watches and warnings likely for the Nature Coast with wind chills down into the 20s for a lot of these areas. Even Tampa could have wind chills in the 20s. So that's going to be absolutely crazy. So this is pipe-bursting weather in the deep south. And it's not just Florida. It's also Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And a lot of these places that haven't seen temperatures above freezing in a while, well, it's not coming anytime soon. And unfortunately, we still have hundreds of thousands of people without power back here. I know that's got to be getting tough. If it hasn't already been tough, it's going to get tougher because it's going to get even colder as this next system moves through. So, once again, another reminder to check in on your neighbors. Check in on your people who maybe don't have a lot of resources out here. People are hurting. The death toll that I mentioned in the other video has went up significantly, unfortunately. I think we're over 50 or 60 now, and that number will continue to rise. This might be one of the deadliest cold snaps that we've seen in a while. So, just another reminder. Please check on your neighbors. Please bring your pets inside and all that good stuff. I do think we're eventually going to get out of this, but we're still a week or so out. The latest CPC outlook for the 6 to 10-day outlook does show our below-average temperature area getting smaller. You can see that huge ridge building in the west. It's trying its best to push the cold air out of here. In fact, we might get above average in Minneapolis, Des Moines, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, Bismarck, Rapid City, and we're going to stay above average over here in Los Angeles, up to Seattle, over to Idaho and Montana. So, what we're going to hope for is for that warm air to continue propagating to the east, but for now, we are staying cold over here. And that's pretty much all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching Michael Carter Weather. Make sure you slap a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.